Good afternoon. I'm Alexandra Klitina, journalist with Kyiv Post. Today with us Michael Holly. He is volunteer from Great Britain. He came to help civilian people that in the area of hostilities with medical help and evacuation. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Can you tell a few words about yourself, about organizations that you're heading?
Yes, certainly. Psychiatric nurse from England. I've watched many wars on TV and decided I just could not watch another one when I know I have the skills to contribute in some way. So I set up a operation to bring ambulance to Children's Hospital in Lviv, which was the first one I brought in. I realized I needed to set up a legitimate social enterprise so that nobody can make profit from helping, but also so that I can have a name that people recognize, which is tactical and medical evacuations.
I know that you just arrived from Severodonetsk, Lysychansk area. It's very hot hostilities are going. And can you tell what is going on in the front? What is the situation?
So I can speak of Lysychansk, and in Lysychansk, Russians destroyed the civilian food hub. So then they set up another one, and an amazing organization from Ukraine, World Central Kitchen, provides food, and then people like myself, we can get that there. And then we go in, and some of the pictures I'll share with you, doing basic sort of primary care wound dressing for old people who haven't been able to see a doctor, or medically evacuating people, or if I come across a soldier, as we did with shrapnel through his leg, making sure this is addressed. If we see a babta? Grandmother?
Babka. Babushka.
Babushki. You're taking them to their family in maybe Bakhmut or Slavyansk or wherever. Teaching children, that's not a toy, leave that alone, and when you see it, go and tell mommy and daddy.
Yes, it's important.
There's a lot of unexploded munitions, and children need to understand the dangers of these, because we see this all over the world.
But what is your personal impression? Are Russians successful with their offensive? What do you think?
I think they've been very successful in murdering countless civilians through an utter ambivalence, clear, which I've witnessed firsthand, for the value of human life, young or old. If they call that a success, we're from different worlds.
Have you noticed some weapons, chemical weapons or phosphor weapons that they use?
Certainly, we've witnessed, and again, some of the images as I've shared with you, the use of phosphorus, which burns everything, burns in the air, burns everything, over civilian areas. We found the cluster rockets, which I have the pictures of, again, just across the road from houses. Cluster munitions, I believe it's illegal to use those. Using artillery, rocket systems like Grad, and guided missiles like the one that got us. These are civilian areas, you know.
I think it's a lot of wounded, right? Are they getting proper medical help there?
The civilians? So they have a really, really good community clinic, which has been doing fantastic work in getting people and getting them moved to Bakhmut, which is dangerous because they have a line on the road. And there is another hospital there, which is dealing with combatants. Yeah, it's about, I suppose, people like ourselves going, well, we will come in because we don't mind what's coming from the sky, and we'll take you to hospital. How's that? Come see your doctor, come see your family. That's what our job.
What do you think about Ukrainian defense? Is it really effective?
You're amazing. Incredibly brave. They have an immensely difficult task with the resources they have because of the Russian tactics. The Russians can fall back in the city, the Ukrainians can come into the city, then they can hit them from afar. So, I mean, what need is more long-range weapons to take out this, because if those are supplied, it's basically going to mean, and I believe they are being, if I remember the news correctly, I don't know, they're going to be able to stop them raining death on the women and children and old people that are stuck in Lysychansk, Severo, so on and so forth.
So you're sure that long-range weapons will help to save the humans' lives there, right?
Yeah, if you can smash the things that are dropping death on on innocent people, I haven't seen a Russian strong enough to throw one of those missiles. So yeah,
Okay, okay, that's
it's essential that the units there are equipped for the field that is in front of them, and I believe they are being equipped. So, as I understand it, so this is fantastic news for Donbass, fantastic news for Severodonetsk in particular. The sooner they get them there, the better, because the Russians aren't going to stop themselves from murdering all these people. But if they are stopped, it's a good thing.
But what is your personal impression of this trip? I know that
This one?
Yes, yes. Have you been scared or frightened by all this attack?
Yeah,
Just,
you'd be silly if you weren't. I mean, I've just come out of scans and CTs and MRIs because my brain was a bit bruised. Well, we didn't get blown up because I've got all my arms and legs still. Is but
You're very brave.
but yeah, you're more aware. It's after, as will be the challenge for many of the civilians and many of the Ukrainians will be after, when they have time to process and the cortisols come down, and then the fear will come. This is where the psychological therapies will be crucial for healing from this war. But I think at the time you're permanently awake but afraid, and but not really got time to indulge that too much.
Michael, can you tell about maybe your colleagues and other organizations that working in Ukraine?
Yes, certainly. One hugely important organization is Ukraine Guardian Angels, and that's run by a chap called Nick, who has been fortunately, he has Ukrainian heritage, and he's linked with the Australian diaspora through a chap called Stefan Romanov, who has been supporting in funding medical supply, all sorts. He's amazing. Nick has made it possible. I didn't have enough money because I had to give up my job to come here, which when you have 4 children is difficult, and a house to pay for. And Nick, through his work with the Rotary Club and other organizations, actually managed to say, how much are your bills for 1 month? I'm going to pay for you to come back. And I will organize another vehicle in the country. So Ukraine Guardian Angels are amazing, and I would not be here this time without them. I've worked with so many fantastic people. My team in Lysychansk and Siversk and Salado, and we were based in another place which I won't mention because we get targeted. Dallas Casey, one of the finest human beings I've ever had the privilege to meet, work with, clinically amazing, frighteningly clever. Biagé, French guy, gave up his job, and just because he used to be in the military, but he wants to do humanitarian. He was out here teaching people how to stay alive in combat, but also driving around with me when we're getting artillery and everything coming from the sky that you don't want. Guys like Mark, amazing guy, another guy, Tay, from an organization, La Haram, who has provided me the ambulance that I drove up here today in, because I've given all my ambulances away to different hospitals and things. And it's people from all over the world who can see the injustice. And many of us now, because we have no funding, we get a little donation from a friend on Facebook or something. I mean, between us, we're about $250,000 in the hole. But it's spread between us, so it's all right. You know, I'm like, I owe about £20,000. Dallas owes about $28,000. We're getting to the end of what we can spend, and we will have to go home. But we're working on that. We're going to try and fix that somehow. the Ukrainians that I've worked with, the Veterans Warrior Women's Hub in Lviv, has provided me with so much frontline medical care equipment to deliver, that's been in from Lviv to actually into, with a team that went into of my guys, I'm too old and fat and slow, that went into Severodonetsk, all the way from Lviv. When you were fighting for Kyiv, they equipped my medics with an ambulance that I got from a guy called Bucky, which went to the front line in Kyiv. Organizations like this, like I said, World Central Kitchen, there are so many fantastic people just getting up and saying, no, it's not okay, enough.
I see, but maybe you know some people or organizations that willing to help. How can they do it potentially?
How can they do it? So, for example, organizations like mine, I generally try to recruit from veterans who might be a bit too old and slow to fight, but can still teach how to save a life, or are very good drivers in difficult situations, who will go to the places I will go to. Big insurers for the big NGOs are like, you're not going there, we're not insuring you, that's not happening. So we can go a little bit further, and we use those guys to work. But all of these guys, like I said, Piaget gave up his job, I give up my job. But that's, if they want to help, personally, I'll just tell you what I need. I need a couple more ambulances, a couple of armoured Land Rovers, and maybe a minibus, and some diesel. To get into the people. And we will go. If we have them, if we have food on our table and somewhere to sleep and something to drive, we'll go for you.
Thank you for helping Ukraine so much, really.
Thank you. You got 4 fingers and a thumb? Me too, right?
Right. Okay. Thank you for this interview. Good
My
luck.
pleasure.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
with your initiatives, really.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for your time.